Welcome to another XLM price action update. So, you probably have seen the moves happening in XLM today and might be wondering what is going on here. So, according to this pattern, it's hit its bottom already and it can't go below the previous little mini low that happened in basically the 2nd of June, on the 2nd of June. And to give you some perspective on this pattern here, I want to give you just a little bit of a count. So I'll do it live just because I have been a bit busy, but here we go anyway. So for me, this is pretty straightforward labeling according to Ariaswave. So you had your A and your B waves for this little mini correction. So obviously since the lows uh, a week or so ago, we've we've had this little move up and it's now correcting. So obviously it hasn't fallen back below the magenta line, which I'll get to in a moment. But you can see that um, it's holding, and that little move down was only, in my opinion, part of a wave D correction. So the wave D is the one that we're seeing here. So I believe wave D will probably go up to the highs, like so, and then we'll get our wave E to complete the process of this correction. So in this case, wave D is the biggest wave by the looks of it. Um, and it doesn't surprise me that wave Ds are the biggest waves lately, considering what we're looking at long term on everything. So we have wave one and two, and then we have another wave one and two. So probably going to be part of a wave three of wave one of the larger C wave that's coming, right? So to put that into a bit more perspective for you, we'll probably see. Okay, so to confirm that this correction is over, we need to see a break of this magenta line up here, which is the larger wave D of the correction that started in 2018, I believe, end of 2017, start of 2018. So the D and the E pattern, we need to see a break above the magenta line. Now, obviously, I've been saying that we've hit a bottom and we're looking for a reversal. So some people may want to wait until we get up there, but you know, it's up to you. You do your own analysis. I'm not a financial advisor, as I always mention, because I have to. So yeah, so what we're seeing now is a 1-2-1-2 pattern. Now the 1-2 pattern here is part of wave three, which will probably take it a bit higher. I don't know how high it will go. It might even go to the next magenta line. So that'll be wave 3, 4, 5, and then we'll get another correction around here that'll look similar to the one I just showed you at a small degree. So we get wave 3 like so. Well, it's not going to look like that, is it? Uh, wave 3 up, for example, and then you get another correction here, before you keep going higher. That's basically the Ariaswave way of looking at this. You will get a wave 1, probably, another correction. This might be sharp, might not be that big actually. That's pretty big, but yeah, just to give you a little perspective there, you might even get wave 1 that hits the highs. Sorry, the whole move, right? Because once you get 3, you get 4, and you get 5, you might actually hit that high and pull back, and then perform all these corrective patterns, and then move up again. But we don't know what that's going to look like. We can't really assume too much. But using wave E as a guide, breaking the previous wave E, the start of the previous wave E, it happened on a small degree, right? So you can see it down here. Once again, I'll go back to the small degree. You can see that once we broke, see that D wave there? Sorry, the start of E wave down. See how it broke it like in a cup and handle pattern, right? A nice handle, a pretty decent handle. You can see that it came back to retest that magenta line. So that's the same thing we're looking up at what I just showed you before, except this is much a smaller degree of that move. All right. So I can probably like give you a bit more on that. So so once we break above this area, we're going to be looking for higher targets, which will then take us to complete the larger wave D, right? So it's not on this chart completely. I've got it on the STR chart. I did mention around $15, so whatever here, for example's sakes, probably not going to take that long. So I'm not going to don't worry about looking at the dates. It's supposed to be a few months from now. Could be to the end of the year. Nobody really knows. But if it's impulsive, then it's going to go straight up. So once you get that move completed, right, that'll be the larger wave D. So you can see what I'm talking about here when I mention wave Ds and Es. So once we get that D, we're going to have a big crash, right? We're going to have a big wave E down. It's going to be part of the larger pattern. Okay, so you have to understand that this is all fractal patterns. If you want to try and imagine what a fractal pattern is, just picture yourself inside a house, and that house is inside another house, right? I don't know if you can picture that, but imagine that bigger house is inside an even bigger house, right? So can you see outside your house? No, you can't. But if you know what's happening in the waves, you'll understand the fractal nature of these patterns. So once we get that E wave happen, once it does happen, then obviously depending where it falls, you buy that dip. Obviously you want to get out at the top, maybe put it in USDC because it's safe, or USDT if if you dare, if you're game. And then we're going to have another move up that's going to be doing the same sort of thing. We're going to have another magenta line eventually one day, right? And it's going to be exactly the same thing again. We're going to see a massive wave one up. It's going to come back and correct around this area, right? And then it's going to continue higher. So we're looking for a massive run up after this huge crash that's coming. We don't know how that will look, but the waves repeat themselves at every degree of trend. So that's what Ariaswave sort of shows you, and I'm also showing you my other market updates, which try to explain my long-term view. Recently, it's been updated. I'll link that video below in the latest Ariaswave market update, so you can have a look for yourself as to what I believe these markets will do. Because after all, Bitcoin is correlated with the stock market, and altcoins are correlated with Bitcoin. So you can see where I'm getting at here. It's been a long process, and it's definitely starting to show us what can potentially happen. Remember, it's only we're dealing with potentials here, probabilities. So keep that in mind. So just one last thing I want to just touch on here with that latest move that made me think that this is a D wave in a small degree here, is that when you look at this pattern, right? Now, initially I thought that could have been a D here and then the E here, but because that looks like a weird 5 wave move, now to me, according to Ariaswave, it has confirmed that it's a 5 wave move, not a zigzag, right? And that's because we have this massive A wave within the D wave. Okay, so massive A wave within the D wave. How do you calculate that, right? So to me, the way you do that is you just have a look here. You see that's A wave. Then you have your A. You have a B, a C, a D, and an E. Sorry, that's wrong. Sorry, my mistakes. Got that wrong. You have your A. You have your sorry. So that's A in brackets, and then you have your A, B, C, D, E. Okay, and then you have your C wave. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, the CDE pattern appeared again, which is why I'm showing you this for those who know Ariaswave. Now, what makes this a CDE pattern in that little zigzag there? So if I go to the 5-minute chart, the one thing that makes this really obvious to me is the fact that this is a 5 wave move with a 3 wave move and a 5 wave move. Okay. Now, only an Elliottician would think that this is a true zigzag. It's not. Okay. This is a CDE pattern. And that's why you got the CDE pattern, and then you had this move down. Now, if you want another example of a CDE pattern, all you got to do is go to the 4-hour chart, right, and take a good look at the larger picture that I've laid out here since May 2021 when we started to get this crash, and you can see we have a CDE pattern. It's the same thing, right? This pattern is definitely important, and it's part of Ariaswave, and it's part of how the waves are described according to Ariaswave. So hopefully you found this video interesting and informative. Thank you for watching.